This is the Pilot E95S. It's a much beloved fountain pen in our community and by yours truly. It's a compact fountain pen which Pilot refers to as a long short, meaning that it is a short pen when it's capped, and it is designed to be written posted, in which case it becomes a full-size fountain pen. But this pen is by no means a new model. It was first released in 2003 to commemorate Pilot's 95th anniversary since their founding, and if we take a look at the bottom of the cap, it reads Elite, which means that this is part of the Elite family of fountain pens, and that has a lineage dating back to 1968. As I've grown my fountain pen collection, I found that I really love this form factor. It is very easy to travel with, and it's very approachable. And for that reason, I have expanded my collection of Elite long shorts, and I'd like to go over some of those with you today. Bear in mind, it's by no means a complete collection, as there are a huge variety of Elites with different styles of nibs, colors, finishes, and overall sizes. Without further ado, I'll meet you at the table. First up, we have the E95S, which we just looked at. I have this in burgundy and ivory, which refers to the color of the body and the cap, respectively. The cap appears to be made out of aluminum. There's also a black version of this pen, in which case the cap is just black plastic. It has a nice clip, which is spring-loaded. At the bottom, it reads Pilot, and it's very functional. At the bottom, it says Elite, and the cap band has kind of a squared off design, and on the back it says Pilot Japan. Next up, I have what I would call the standard Elite short. This one is all black. It is a bit thinner than the E95S. The clip has Pilot written at the top in a slight recess, and it is also a spring-loaded clip. At the bottom, it says Elite, and it has kind of a V shape to the cap band, and there's nothing on the back. And then next, I have a Pilot Elite with cross-hatching on the cap. And it really adds a bit of style and flair to this, which makes it a little bit more sophisticated in my mind. This one has a flat finial, which matches the E95S, whereas this vintage model has kind of a tapered finial with a flat edge facing the clip. So that's a small difference between these two models. It has Elite written at the bottom, and it doesn't really have a cap band. And then the bottom portion is just black plastic, matching what I call the standard Elite short. And to round things off, I have one more model. This is a full cross-hatched Pilot Elite. This one was referred to as the Isaac Newton back when it was being produced. The cap is virtually identical to this cross-hatched version, except this one is a bit thicker than these other two models. The thickness of this actually matches the E95S. And then that cross-hatching continues onto the barrel, so it effectively has an all-aluminum shell. Let's take a look at these pens with their caps removed. All of the caps pull off, and in the uncapped form, all pens are virtually the same size. Again, the E95S and the full cross-hatched fountain pens are a little bit thicker than the middle two. Let's take a closer look at these sections and nibs. And here we can see two distinct styles of nibs. The Isaac Newton and the E95S both have fully inlaid nibs, and the two pens in the middle have semi-hooded nibs. Pilot also made a more hooded version of the Elite short, as well as ones that have kind of a fingernail style nib. I unfortunately don't have pens with those styles, but I'll throw a picture up on the screen so you can see what they look like. If we take a closer look at these nibs, we can decipher more information about these pens from their markings. On the Isaac Newton, it reads 18K750, denoting a 75% gold content. Pilot, F for fine, Japan, and at the bottom we have the plant code of H for Hiroshika. If you purchase a pen that has a T, that means it was produced in Tokyo. And then I have 2 for the month of February and 78 for the year is produced. If we take a closer look at our first semi-hooded nib, this is the one that had the cross-hatched cap. This nib has a little bit of discoloration. It was originally rhodium plated and the last user kind of polished off that finish, so now it's a little bit yellow. That's okay, it's just basically a cosmetic blemish. It doesn't really affect the way that this nib writes. This one is also 18 karat gold, 75% gold content. Pilot, F for fine. Another Hiroshika plant pen. This one was produced in January of 1976. And then let's take a look at the Standard Elite. This one was actually the first gold nib that I ever purchased. It writes beautifully, it's soft and juicy. This is a 14 karat gold, 58% gold content. Pilot, M for medium. This one was also produced in Hiroshika and it was made May of 1977. And then to round things off, we'll take a closer look at the E95S. This one also has a 14 karat gold nib, again 58.5% gold content. Pilot, M for medium. This one writes quite broad for a medium. I don't know if that's typical for E95Ss, but that's at least the one that I have. Japan. And then Pilot changed the plant code from H to P when they closed out the Tokyo plant. This is still made in Hiroshika. This one was produced May of 2023. In terms of grip sections, all of these pens have very similar designs where they just taper back to this metal band. Again, the E95S and the Isaac Newton are a bit thicker than the middle two. Let's take a look at these pens with their caps posted. All caps post deeply and securely, and all of these pens utilize very similar leaf springs inside the caps, which gives you a friction fit until you butt up against the metal band. And as I previously mentioned, the E95S and Isaac Newton are a bit thicker than these other two pens. The two pens in the middle have caps that are swappable, and you can actually swap out the Isaac Newton's cap with the E95S. I'll show you that right now. So here's the E95S with a cross-hatched cap. I think that's a pretty attractive look. It might be interesting if Pilot brought this back. You can also post this as well. And just to show that they are fully swappable, there's the Isaac Newton with an E95S cap. Perfectly usable. I do find it pretty interesting. The E95S kind of takes design inspiration from both of these models. I would say the overall design is more closely aligned with this model here with the half cross hatching, but the nib being inlaid and also the thickness of the pen is more similar to the Isaac Newton. So I hope that you found this video informative and useful, and hopefully you've learned something new about the vintage models of Elites. It's a fantastic line of pens, one that I clearly enjoy collecting. If there's an aspect of the E95S pen that you maybe don't enjoy too much, you might find a vintage model that suits you better. So that's all that I have to share with you today. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comment section below. And I just want to say thank you for watching.